All right, good evening. I call this public meeting of the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors to order on Thursday, June 6th at 6:31 p.m. Our boardrooms are not available for use due to a scheduled replacement of audio-visual equipment. Therefore, this meeting will be fully online this evening. Thank you for your understanding. I would like to remind our community that the purpose of our board meetings is to conduct the business of the district first and for everyone to learn about the district in a safe and productive manner. First on the agenda is community comments. Community comments are an opportunity for our community to share their ideas and opinions with the board. Input is welcome and valued. It is our duty to keep it safe and respectful for everyone, students, staff, and our community. This is not a time for discussion or debate. Letters to the board are always welcome, and each of us reads the input. Requests for information should be requested as outlined in policy KBA-AR. Any individual desiring to speak will have indicated their desire prior to the board meeting. An individual with a disability will be given an equal opportunity to participate in board meetings. This may include someone speaking on their behalf if their disability or other medical need limits their ability to attend in person. Board policy also speaks to accommodations available. A speaker will be required to give their name, city of residence, and the group, if any, that is represented. If there are more patrons desiring to present comments than time allotted, the board chair has the authority to reduce the presentation time for individual speakers or institute a prioritization process with first priority to students and city of residence. Speakers may offer objective criticisms of district operations and programs that are of a concern to them. The board is restricted from hearing and will not consider complaints regarding any individual staff member or any person connected with the district. Comments that make a staff member identifiable to the public, even without their specific name, violate the policy. As an organization centered around youth and their positive development, all speakers will model respectful public comment and be mindful of civil discourse. We will keep the order of speakers announced by me, the chair. After making your public comments, please exit the Zoom meeting. You may continue to watch the board meeting on North Clackamas School District YouTube channel. Do we have Leland Herschel in the waiting room?
Yes, just a second.
Mm-hmm.
I got it, Donna, if that's helpful.
I think I got him.
Okay.
All right, Leland, welcome to the board meeting. Please state your name, your city of residence, and then your time will begin.
It doesn't look like Leland has access to a microphone on the device, or it's still connecting to audio.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy.
If I may speak out of turn. Hey, Leland, it's Mr. Moreno. I think if you were to exit out of your windows and you are well versed in Google Classrooms and Hangouts, I just found this out about Zoom calls. You need to go back out and allow permission through the top toolbar. Maybe that'll help you out.
Leland, we can move on to the next speaker and come back to you if that would be helpful. don't know if he may not be able to hear either. Donna, why don't we let Leland work that out, and then let's move on to Michael speaking for Kylie. Is he in the waiting room?
Jennifer Corbis is. I'll go ahead and let her in.
Thank you. All right, Jennifer or Michael, you are on next. You're up next to speak on behalf of Kylie. So if you could state your name and the city of residence, and then your time will begin. Jennifer or Michael, are you there?
They're not going to cut me off. Hold on. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Michael.
All
Please
right.
state your name and city of residence, and then your time will begin.
Okay. Michael, grown man, Corbis, Oak Grove, Oregon. You started too soon. Grown man here to talk to you tonight specifically to the one who's 4 down on the video there. Last meeting, when you referred to myself and the other gentleman who spoke there, was an inference that a normal grown man would obey everything you believe and not speak out with a different view. Well, I want to tell you, I don't obey any woman all the time, except for my lovely wife, Jennifer. I was a nerd in high school, and she still married me. Anyway, I want to remind all of you who seem to have forgotten who actually was bullied and hated for believing differently than the bigoted bully activist in your favorite bully activist group, and their bigoted supporters demanded. And let me remind you that it is not all LGBTQ people who bully, not all LGBTQ people who bully, as many are reasonable, live and let live, and agree to disagree folks. And they are as tired of Pride Month as the rest of us. They're as tired. LGBTQ people are as tired of Pride Month as the rest of us. After all, I am supporting a candidate who is running against you for state rep, and she is gay married. You, on the other hand, are running against her because she is running as a conservative Republican and doesn't think and believe the way you demand. She ain't the right kind of diversity, is she? Right? Anyway, both my sons and daughters have received well-documented hate and from bigoted bullies in this district that the ideology you teach has created because my kids don't believe the way you all have demanded. We have asked for equal representation for all students, including conservative identities, causes, and people groups, alongside the LGBTQ and other progressive banners you consistently honor. We've wanted you to abandon the exclusivity, not inclusivity, in identities, causes, and people groups that you allow on the walls and give special days, weeks, and months to. And
Was that time? Okay, that was time. All right, thank you. All right. And now you have 3 additional minutes because you signed up for yourself as well, Michael.
You're on mute.
I had 1 minute left. Come on, let me make the speech. Why do you guys do this? I had 1 minute left.
They're already going.
You are.
And I want to remind you that we need civil discourse, Michael Corbis. We need civil discourse, and we need to remember to respect everyone in the room.
That's not what April did last week. Come on,
We are
you're
not, we
not
are not
playing
directing
fair.
comments directly toward directors tonight, Michael.
You're not playing fair. We've wanted you to abandon the exclusivity and identities, causes, and people groups that you allow on the walls and give special days, weeks, and months to. But you refuse. You don't do the diversity and inclusion you love to talk about. Let's take a look at some of your Pride Month heroes, okay? Right here. This was said to about my daughter and my son. Homophobic cracker ASS BITCH. Sister need a tard guard head ass. I hope 19 men pass your ass around in a massive orgy. You dumb.
Michael, we have been through this before.
We are, and we're
This
going
is
through it
not
again.
civil
Point of
discourse.
order,
It is,
civil
We're
this is
going
not
through it.
respectful
We're
discourse.
going
It is
through.
not.
No, they were not respectful, and you guys have done nothing about it.
There
They
are
were not
manners for which you
respectful, and you've
for
done
to
nothing
handle
about
this.
it. Yeah, well, you know what they all are. Listen, I can fight against. I can fight for this. I have every right to do that. Okay. Now you claim LGBTQ are hated in this district, but have produced no proof. While we produced a bunch of proof of those who hate Christians and conservatives, but are allowed to continue bullying unchecked, you don't care because according to the ideology you teach, Christians and conservatives are the oppressor. Meanwhile, you justify the quote unquote oppressed in your favorite bully group and their awful behavior, which actually drives them into mental illness created by no consequence for behavior that ultimately damages them and pushes them deeper into mental illness. Your ideology and coddling of certain groups are creating mental illness, and there's evidence of it. Your teachers came in and said that. They said that you have a big problem. It's only going to get bigger, and you will destroy the public school if you continue for ideology, not to mention so many young lives. We could just give up, but that ain't what we do. So we will continue to fight for safety of all students in this district on here, at meetings, and legally as well. Someone has to do it. And I want to say this. I got a minute 36 seconds. Don't cut me off. Okay? I've said it so many times. It's disgusting that you guys claim diversity, equity, and inclusion, but you carry out none of that. It's exclusivity. I just heard from the director of high schools and the superintendent, and both of them said that they don't want to meet with me about my cause's identities. Okay? I have conservative identities. I got banners for them, but they
Point
don't
of
want.
order, you are not to identify anyone connected with the district.
Well, hold on. April Dobson did it last week. Did she not? Did she not say something where
We
Justin?
are not directing comments toward the board directors, Michael Corbus.
What can she do it towards us? Tell me that. Is that okay when she did it to us? Okay, say it. Is it okay? Tell me if it's okay.
I believe his time is up. He's had many minutes.
No, I had 5 minutes. You proved my point. You proved my point. This is not going to work out good for you guys legally. I've been trying to avoid it, but I'm at the point where freedom of speech, freedom of religion, civil liberties have been violated. I could go on and on. I don't know. My microphone's still on. I could go on and on. I could. That's what you're doing. You silenced me. You cut off half my speech because I was saying things that were combative. Well, guess what? When we received these, they were combative, let me tell you. Okay? When your favorite bully teacher said what she did and did what she did, that was combative.
Michael can be muted now, please. This time is up. And just for our community, how our last speaker characterized this board and this district is not accurate. All right, do we have Leland in the room?
He's joining now.
All right, thank you. All right, Leland, are you able to hear us at this time?
I still don't see a microphone icon showing up for his screen.
Right? Do we have Brandon Germany in the room? And then we might be able to hopefully help Leland be able to hear and be able to speak.
Yeah, let me get him in.
All right, and hopefully we can make it so that we can, it looks like he's trying to connect. All right, Brandon, if you can go ahead and state your name and your city of residence, your 3 minutes will begin.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Sorry.
we can.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to make sure. Brandon, Germany, Damascus. I remembered water this time. Sorry, guys, I was watching on YouTube. I don't have my thing pulled up. Give me 1 second.
Hello?
Oh, hey there, Leland.
Can you restart the timer because I was having issues with logging into Zoom?
Wait your turn.
Okay. Sorry.
Do you want me to continue?
Just continue. Sorry.
Okay.
Dana, you're on mute.
Oh, I apologize. Leland, Brandon Germany had started, so we will come back to you right after Brandon is done. All right, thank you. Thank you for your patience.
Brandon, Germany, Damascus. My first objective criticism of district policy is in regards to the statement on your website, which reads, "All students belong in North Clackamas School regardless of religion. Everyone belongs." It is my opinion that this is not true because North Clackamas School District, in my opinion, is not a safe and inclusive space for Christian students. I believe that that the faculty judges the Christians' morality as wrong and encourages them to abandon their religion. My second objective criticism of the district is in regard to board policy AC, which reads, quote, "The board encourages all staff, students, family, and the public to respect all individuals and the diversity of our community." Is my opinion that people in the district are you encourage people to respect diversity as long as it's diversity that you like. Christians are part of your community, but you judge their morality on the basis of their religion. My third objective criticism of the district is in regard to these board meetings. As you said before we started, the board meetings are supposed to be safe, respectful, and productive. We speakers are required to be respectful of civil discourse and not make any individual known. I have always attempted to conduct myself in a respectful manner, and I've always tried to do my best to be objective in my complaints. I simply ask the board to be respectful of Michael and I as well. I ask the board not to use their publicly appointed positions to slander the fathers of students in the district. Ever since I started coming to these meetings, I've pointed out the irreconcilable differences between your Christian families and your LGBTQ families. I've pointed out that these two ethical positions are mutually exclusive. I have never attacked the character of children. What I have done is expose the tension of competing worldviews and the tensions of your policies. I have exposed the fact that you have chosen a side on competing moral ideologies. I know how you guys feel about me. Believe me, I do. But know that if you hate me, you also hate your Christian students. Lastly, I just want to say to my children and to all Christian children in the district, you guys aren't bullies. You guys are not immoral. You are kind, compassionate, and brave. I know the Christophobic remarks. I get them. My son gets them. And the hate that you guys endure. I know the school is not currently a safe place for you to express your religious beliefs, but please know that Christians, me, other people are fighting for you. Don't give up. That's all. Thank you.
All right, Leland, are you ready?
Hopefully so, if you can hear me.
We can hear you, Leland. Can you Tell us your name and the city you're calling from, and then you can get started.
Okay, Leland Purcell, Adrian C. Nelson High School, Happy Valley, Oregon. Thank you for having me back again. Back here to talk about the cell phone policy. First off, I would like to thank the board for addressing the concerns about the transport of high school students between their home high schools and Saban-Schellenberg Technical Center. However, I still have problems with this policy. The one of them I feel like is one of them I have an issue with is the switch to email when it comes to emergencies. I've talked with students and they said that their parents don't even check their email. Email also gets lost with other emails, not just from other people, but also spam emails from services like Google Classroom, Parent Square, and potentially more. Messaging is straightforward and more efficient than email. Also, students might not know their parents' email. This system requires full commitment that isn't there, and it is entirely unrealistic to put this in place is and expect everyone to do their job. Sorry if I got that wrong. With distractions, some of the curriculum is either too rigorous to learn or so bland that students will have a hard time to engage and would not learn or do that or do anything else. Okay. With test scores being low, that contributed that the push to harder curriculum. As for social media use, social media use won't go down if the district bans phones, since teens will still use social media. I don't have confidence in this system. The pouches are going to be inevitably broken into, and I've heard lots of students are against it, and even staff members that are against, not on board, even if they see the problem. I personally don't see this working out myself, and I'd like to apologize for causing any ruckus during the board meeting. And I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Leland. Thank you for sharing tonight.
You're welcome.
The board also received emails about the Yoder pouches. The views and opinions expressed during community comments are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors. We will begin with a native land acknowledgement. Vice Chair Way will lead the acknowledgement this evening.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. We acknowledge the land on which we sit and which we call the North Clackamas School District rests on the traditional and indigenous lands and village sites of the native peoples of the Kalapuya, Chinook, Molalla, and the Clackamas. We take this opportunity to offer gratitude for the ability to learn, work, and be a community on this land, and we offer thanks to the original caretakers of this region. We recognize the historic policies of colonization, genocide, relocation, and assimilation that affected Indigenous and Native families, both past and present, and that will affect those in the future, and honor the resilience and revitalization of our Indigenous and Native communities. We pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, who have been the stewards of this land throughout the generations.
Thank you, Vice Chair Way. Please turn off your cameras for the Pledge of Allegiance. Director Wachter, will you lead the Pledge of Allegiance this evening?
Yes, Chair, I will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. In the board packet, you will find the minutes of the May 23rd, 2024 meeting of the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 23rd, 2024 meeting.
Is there a second?
Wachter, second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved by Director Way and seconded by Director Wachter. Is there any discussion? I will call for a vote to approve the minutes. We're just going to do a roll call for this evening. Director Bauer?
Aye.
Director Dobson,
Aye.
Director Kemp,
Aye.
Director McVeigh,
Aye.
Director Wachter,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Director Benaloga, aye. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Our consent agenda this evening, you will find it in this evening's board packet. The items on the consent agenda are employment changes, revised public contracting rules, travel requests for Clackamas High School basketball, Rex Putnam High School cross country team, and Rex Putnam High School Kingsman Thunder drumline. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
McVeigh, I move approval of the consent agenda, which includes employment changes, revised public contracting rules, travel requests, which is Clackamas High School basketball, travel requests Rex Putnam High School cross country team, and Rex Putnam High School Kingsman Thunder drumline.
Is there a second?
Director Dobson, second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved by Director McVeigh and seconded by Director Dobson that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? I will call for a roll call vote on the motion. Director Bauer,
Aye.
Director Dobson,
Aye.
Director Kemp,
Aye.
Director McVeigh,
Aye.
Director Wachter,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Director Benaloga, aye. The motion passes with a vote of 7-0. Next on the agenda is our North Clackamas Education Association's featured educator. I welcome CEA President Melinda Ryan.
Good evening, directors and everyone. It's nice to see you all this evening. As part of our North Clackamas Education Association featured educator evening, we're here to honor our licensed staff in North Clackamas who have received their national board certification in teaching, which is a really big deal. And I would like to introduce Deanna Delgado, who is the National Board for Certified Teachers regional lead in our area. Deanna, go ahead.
Great. Thank you all so much for having me. Give me 1 minute so that I can see if I can share my slides. Okay, I'm hoping you're seeing what I'm projecting to you.
Yes, we
If
can
not-
see them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Deanna Delgado. Thank you again for having me. I am an instructional coach with Portland Public Schools, and I am also a regional lead for our National Board Certified Teachers here in the state of Oregon. And I myself am also a National Board Certified Teacher. I'm here today to recognize and celebrate teachers who have gone through the rigorous process of achieving board certified status in an effort to elevate their teaching and impact their students. To tell you a little bit about what National Board Certification is, I can say that it is considered the gold standard in teaching, and it is the most respected professional certification available in education. National Board Certification is a 1, 2, or 3-year process that is designed to develop and recognize accomplished teaching. National Board is a professional learning opportunity in which teachers reflect on their teaching practice based on the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards. They hold their teaching alongside the standards and 5 core propositions to determine areas of strength and areas of growth. This deep level of reflection, along with working towards intentionality, improves a teacher's practice and student learning outcomes. The impact of National Board Certification is incredibly powerful, and it has a profound impact on student learning. Research shows that students who are taught by a National Board Certified teacher gain 1 to 3 months of additional learning by fostering deeper understanding of the content and by providing equitable instruction based on the student's needs. And more than 95% of teachers surveyed shared that National Board Certification was one of the most impactful professional learning experiences to advance their practice. The 5 core propositions are what guide our national board teachers, and they describe what highly accomplished teachers should know and be able to do. These are the basis of all of the certificate area standards. National board certified teachers have demonstrated that they are teachers who are committed to students and their learning. They know the subjects they teach and how to teach those subjects to students. They manage and monitor student learning, think systematically about their practice, and are members of their learning communities. And every student deserves to be taught by a national board certified teacher. National board certification covers a wide range of learning, offering 25 certificate areas that apply to 95% of teachers as well as to counselors. And what do teachers do? So the process for certification is grouped into 4 components. Component 1 is content knowledge, which enables educators to show the depth of their knowledge over the span of their certificate area. Component 2 is differentiation in instruction, as evidenced by student work, where educators demonstrate their knowledge of students, set goals according to their needs, instruct and collect student work, assess and give feedback to help students move forward, and then set new goals and continue the cycle. The focus of this component is on how educators differentiate in order to meet the needs of all of their students. Component 3 is teaching practice and learning environment, and that is evidenced through video, which gives a window into the classroom and looks at how students engage with the content, how students engage with their peers, how students engage with the educator in order to meet the learning, to impact their learning. And then component 4 is effective and reflective practitioner. And in this component, teachers reflect on student assessment data and show how they gather information from multiple sources to show that they know their students and how they use that information to support their learning, as well as how they collaborate with others to support student learning. The cost and time, to give you a little overview, as I shared earlier, the process can take 1 to 3 years, depending on what the teacher chooses to do and which components they choose to submit. And the total cost of certification is now $1,975, with each of the 4 components costing $475 and also a $75 registration fee. So with all that under our belt, I wanted to just take a moment, and at this time, I'd like to acknowledge and celebrate educators in your district who have gone through this very rigorous and transformative process to earn their national board certification. I'd like to recognize Crystal Ramirez Klein, who is an instructional coach and specialist at Lot Whitcomb. And she shared that going through the MBCT process has helped me push my teaching to the next level by truly analyzing my practice and seeing what changes can best serve the students that are in my classroom. I'd like to also celebrate Melissa Merschel, who's a teacher librarian and media specialist at Milwaukee High School and Academy of the Arts. She shared that going through the national board process is the best professional development I have ever experienced. This process taught me always to first ask why instead of how, to first clearly conceive of the desired student learning, then work my way backward, facilitating that student learning. As difficult as the national board journey might seem, the rewards of the professional insight far outweigh any challenge. The need for growth as an educator never ends, and now I have better professional muscles to do that work, for which I'm so grateful. I'd like to also recognize Jenny Hutball, a first grade teacher at Billquist Elementary. Forgive me if I pronounced your name incorrectly. She shared that the certification process was incredibly valuable as it allowed me to connect my classroom practice with professional learning. It has had a powerful impact on the way I get to know my students, collect data, and reflect on my practice. In my 27-year career, it has been the single most powerful learning I've ever done. I'd like to also celebrate Melissa Conrad, a resource room educator at Spring Mountain Elementary. She shared, National Board helped me to learn how to analyze and reflect on my practices. It helped me understand how much I was already doing that was beneficial for students with exceptional needs and how I could improve from there. It showed that I can continue to do hard things and that hard work and dedication make an incredible impact in the progress my students make. I also now have another group of peers outside of the district I can connect with and compare notes with. Getting my national boards has been a valuable experience for my continued growth as an educator. And I'd like to also celebrate Jen Goodrich, who is a 5th grade teacher at Mount Scott Elementary. And she shared the most valuable part of going through the national board process has been the opportunity to be reflective about my teaching practice. This process taught me to be more reflective about the lessons I teach. Working on the national board certification also reminded me that one of the joys of being a teacher is innovating and looking for new strategies to engage more students. Nothing is more important than good instruction and high standards for our students. I'm always amazed by the quality of work students produce if we set the bar high for them, as well as ourselves. And I also want to recognize Erica Fusen, an English language arts educator. So that's the end of my presentation. I really just wanted to celebrate their work and their efforts and the continued impact that they will have on student learning. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. Directors, does anyone have any comments?
Chair, I just would like to say thank you so much for the presentation. Thank you to the educators who worked extra hard to achieve this prestigious recognition. And we're just really, really proud of you and honored that with this new knowledge that you're armed with, that you continue to serve our students here in the North Clackamas School District.
Thank you, Director Dobson. Are there any further comments?
Okay, here I would just say, having 2 family members having done this recently, I know how hard it is and a lot of work, and so I appreciate the efforts and I really appreciate doing what you do for our students. I think hard work is an understatement for this national accreditation.
Thank you, Director McVeigh. Are there any further comments? All right, thank you so much, and thank you for joining the meeting. Next on the agenda is the Rock Creek Middle School presentation. I welcome Executive Director of Secondary Programs, Petra Callan, who will introduce our guests.
Good evening, directors. I am really happy to introduce Principal John Brooks from Rock Creek Middle School. He'll be sharing with us, along with his team, what's been going on over there, and I'll let him go ahead and introduce his team to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Petra. Thank you, directors and Superintendent James, for letting us come and share this evening. Momentarily, I'm going to try to share my screen. It's been a couple years since we had to do this, so hopefully it goes smoothly. So if you'll give just a second, that share. Are folks seeing my screen there? Because I'm sure not.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. And then presentation slide. Excellent. Am I good?
Okay.
All right. Got a little assist from Donna there. Thank you again for letting us join you this evening, share about what we do every day. At Rock Creek Middle School, I'm joined by a fantastic team this evening. Carol Odo and Erin Moreno, who are both assistant principals, are here, as well as our school psychologist, Sarah Sad. This evening, we want to share about middle school, some of the unique needs of our school students and this age group. And hopefully by the time we're done sharing some of the things that we do each day, it's obvious to you how much we love middle school students and the work involved during this pivotal time as they develop and grow. At Rock Creek, we have a mission statement that's about knowing our students. We want to know them, their stories. We need to know their needs, and we need to provide them support. And when we're looking at middle school, we know that the middle level learner has some very unique needs. Many of those focus on the social emotional journey as they develop and mature. During these 3 years, we know they will mature into independent young adults. But we know to do that, they need to feel connected. They need to feel a sense of belonging. They need some intentional coaching and guidance as they successfully navigate some of their social interactions. They need, unfortunately, an increasing amount of mental health support. They are also in the business of exploring a wide range of interests and new ideas. We know that middle school kids need a lot. Our staff cares deeply. They are middle school first. They chose to work there, and they're working diligently every day to meet the needs of the whole child. What you see here is just a brief snapshot that shows the diverse community of learners that we are supporting each day. It shows some different stories, it shows different strengths, and it shows a variety of needs. You can see a percentage of students that receive services that may include additional academic supports. You can see students that access things like nutrition through established district services. The data also shows a fairly high percentage of students that would, on the surface, be finding some level of success at middle school. It does, however, show portions of students that are still developing consistent skills around behavior, academics, and attendance as they navigate middle school. This past year, we focused on goals that were really about trying to create a calm, predictable environment for students as they navigate middle school and become regulated, and then also trying to meet individual student needs to engage them and challenge them academically. As a school, we worked on aligning our classroom practices with school-wide expectations, reviewing those with students and staff, and then spending time in professional development as a staff, looking at behavioral management skills, trauma-informed care, looking at a framework of hope, which is a more strength-based version of the old ACEs. And then we look at behavioral data to see how students are doing. That intent is to create a firm foundation or a safe place for students to navigate school. Differentiation is academically where we're trying to collect student voice or feedback from students to intentionally plan concrete ways to meet their needs. Each learner is unique, whether it be in skills or interests, and we need to try to differentiate instruction to meet individual needs. Our school staff spent 5 cycles of collecting data and trying to plan responsive actions. That was as a whole group. We also have weekly professional learning communities, or PLCs, that met weekly and utilized district high five strategies. Some of the ones that were focused on were collaboration, structured talk, and feedback from students and to students. Again, the idea trying to meet the individual needs of each individual mid-level learner.
Identity and story. Middle school students are gaining self-awareness and seeking belonging. In other words, students are really trying to figure out who they are, and they want to be seen and valued for that. One of the several fun and safe, or Mr. Brooks referred to it as calm and safe, I add fun, that we intend to meet that need here at Rock Creek is through affinity groups. Rock Creek currently has 4 affinity groups and 1 alliance group. The entire membership of those groups are really driven through recruitment and referral both. In total, we have served around 90 students. In doing so, our staff members meet regularly to plan an experience for students that enriches their school experience by bringing in their lived experience. Students meet a minimum of twice a month or biweekly and generally have a culminating experience. When I think about this year personally as one of the part-time facilitators, and as I look at these, BSU stands for Black Student Union, LSU stands for Latino Student Union, AAPISU is Asian and Pacific Islander, unity is students that are it's very similar to say something, the equivalency at the high school would be, let's say, a gay straight alliance or a GSA, right? But it is my hope that students continue to have those shared experiences for years and years to come.
So a community of care is something that we take very seriously at Rock Creek. And one of the things that we love about our middle school and our middle school model is that it really does allow us to have a team structure that does take care of those middle school kids and what they need at that time. Our team structure is made up of our language arts, math, and science teachers. They all share the same 120 students. They're able to put together common expectations, common language that is used in all of the classes, and it allows these students to have teachers that are constantly having communication with each other, knowing what truly are our students' strengths and needs, and how that can translate from a math class to a science class to a language arts class. When we bring our teachers together once a week on Wednesdays to do our kid talks, and those kid talks are really, again, focused on what is going on with that social emotional need for all of our students, what is the academic need, and what are some of the behavior challenges that might be addressed by all three teachers in that team working together and making sure that we are seeing that student as a whole learner and a whole child that needs not just the academics, but that social emotional help as they move forward throughout 6th, 7th, and 8th grade and getting ready for high school. We do have a lot of staff development this year. We did focus a lot on trauma-informed care this year, and we had specific staff development talking about what that is and what it means for a middle-level learner. We had 16 teachers this year that participated in a book study outside of school on trauma-informed and restorative practices, and so that they could get a deeper understanding and knowledge of what needed to happen so that they could reach our students better and serve them in all the ways, not just academic ways. Now that we have our restorative practices and coordinator, they are working together with these teachers, and then we are getting more and more teachers wanting to come in and start learning what does trauma-informed and restorative practices look like in the classroom, in the hallway, in the commons, at recess, and how can we all be communicating together so that we are truly serving each and every one of our students.
This year at Rock Creek, we created what's called our mental health team. We decided as professionals, including our counselors, school psychologists, Clackamas feeder social worker, our restorative practices coordinator, and Erin Moreno is our assistant principal on our team. We wanted, instead of working in silos, we wanted to work together to best support the increased mental health needs at this age level and post-COVID. Recent data is showing that 21% of teens are experiencing symptoms of anxiety within a 2-week time period. So we wanted to put our expertise together to best reach our students. We meet weekly together from the MTSS framework to best support needs of both students and staff. We talk about needs of staff, providing professional development around trauma responsive care. We work through creating different groups for students that are on IEPs, 504s, or in general education. We have created over 11 groups. Some of the topics are dialectical behavioral therapy, friendship groups, study skills, school engagement, and many more. We have over 80 students that are being supported in our groups currently, and we're hoping to continue these next year. We are also collaborating with special education, and we have social emotional supports, including DBT, in our workshop classes. We collaborate with our community partners, which include Stronger Oregon, Northwest Family Services, and we are providing referrals based on our meetings and now have therapists coming to Rock Creek over 4 days a week to provide mental health services to our students. We are hoping to continue this model in the future to provide more trainings for staff, more supports for students, and best meet our students' social and emotional and behavioral needs.
So at Rock Creek, we really do believe that it is during that middle school time that we want our kids to learn by exploration, not just in academics, but outside of academics as well. We do stress that our curriculum is inquiry-based and developmentally appropriate so that they can start to explore in the academic standards. But we also know that we have to be providing our students ways to explore and interact socially outside of academics. And so we have tried to make it abundantly clear to all of them that they need to try all the electives and just dive in and learn how to cook and learn how to sing a little bit and figure out how to shoot a camera and, you know, everything, because they don't know yet until they try. And this is the perfect time for them to try. And we really, really want them trying all different types of things. We have also a very, very strong band orchestra choir to the point that those classes are bursting at the seams and just packing in those kids. And concerts are fantastic, and the kids are just truly enjoying themselves and learning so much. 25% of our students participate in our cross country and our track. And it's, you know, and not a competitive way either. Like, let's just get out and have fun and talk and run and, you know, just be goofy middle schoolers. And it's just fabulous to go out there and watch and see what they're doing. Outside of that, you know, we do have the after school clubs. We have our affinity spaces. We have outdoor school, which I am telling you is the best thing for every sixth grader in the world to experience outdoor school. And we're hoping that we continue to have the support to send every single one of our sixth graders and get convinced all of our parents that they need to send their sixth grader out there as well, because this is truly the time that they get to explore and figure out who they are as individuals before they get into the high school and start to narrow and focus more of their interests.
Great. Partnering with families. We know that students are growing and changing rapidly. We know that students are in a new space and gaining new and more independence. We believe that along with that knowledge, that it is absolutely crucial to consult with our what we consider the true experts, and that would be our families, our parents and guardians of our Rock Creek students. A formal component of that kind of that partnership with families is referred to as our PAC meetings, or we refer to our guardians as the PAC. It is our goal, and it was accomplished this year that we met quarterly, and at these meetings, admin and essential staff were present. The primary focus or crux of the meeting time was to collaborate ways to create a positive learning environment for every student and staff members included. Some of the wonderful things that came from our time together were honest discourse about the student experience, what we can do moving forward, and new ways for us to expand our communication, both to families on a whole level, but then also just opening pathways for individual communities or communication streams. One that brings a smile to my face that hopefully gained some momentum for next year would be appetizers with the admin, in which we invite staff, or not staff so much, but community members to come in and low stakes speak with administrators, be seen and heard, and allow us to move forward accordingly.
Thank you. had a chance to hear a lot of adults talking about a lot of the stuff that we do for kids. And there is a lot, and we have a good time doing it. But we also want to give a chance to have some students share what they like about Rock Creek and what their experience is like. Folks, assure me this will work when I press play. Please let me know if it doesn't. But let's hear what some of the kids have to say.
The thing that I like about Rock Creek is that we offer a bunch of clubs. We mostly do affinity groups. We have Black Student Union, Latino Student Union, Unity Club, Slavic Club, and we recently started an Asian American Pacific Islander Student Union where we explore different cultures and it's free for everyone to learn.
It's pretty big, definitely than my last school. And I noticed there's not a lot of people in like halls. So it's like there's definitely more rooms. It's more grounded than my old school.
I like that I've been able to make a community and I've been involved in multiple groups of friends and that I've really gotten to know people that I feel like previously I would not have tried to get to know.
Something I like about Rock Creek is like the events we have, like spirit weeks and dances.
How you doing to about you is that they listen to you and they take your opinion into like accountability. Like Miss Moo, I feel like she does. Like if you have a problem with her, not with her or like with her class, or there's something that's like off about you in the day, actually like she'll let you be. You're having a bad day, she'll ask you about it. And I just feel like she really does care about her students. And I feel like Mr. Corner's class is like just such a chill place. Like if you're having a bad day, it will just like level you out. So yeah.
I'm gonna give examples, but Miss Anwar, my former language arts teacher, she would make fun lessons and take her time in doing it, and we would like do our work. She did give us a lot of work, but we would talk as a community, and we would build like a classroom, like a bonding with all of us. And then Miss Lee, I really do not like math, but this year I was on my vacation. I was dreading math at the end of the day, but when I came to math, it was actually really fun because Miss Lee makes like fun lesson plans and she's really funny.
I know that teachers and staff care about me because whenever I walk through the hallways and I see teachers that I've had even 2 years ago, they always say hi and they call me by my name and they try and make conversation with me.
The way I know one of my teachers cares, like Miss Burrell, she'll ask us every morning like how each person's feeling.
I see a lot of signs around the school, like everyone's included, and I can definitely see that in classrooms where everyone's equal and teachers aren't biased about anything.
Thank you so much.
Oh, there we go. We appreciate again the chance to share this evening. I wish we could have just had like 10, 15 minutes of the kids. You guys might have liked that better. But we're proud of the work that Rock Creek and the teachers at Rock Creek, the work that's being done every day. And we're proud of our kids too. Middle school is a special place. If you ever met a middle schooler or had a middle schooler, you know that that is a fun time. It can be a challenging time. Kids are rooted in relationships. They want to be seen and heard and have people know who they are and have people care about them as they navigate that portion of life. We are committed in continuing to build a community around our kids and provide them the support they need so they have a strong foundation as they continue through middle school and then head on to high school. So again, thank you very much for your time and appreciate that.
Thank you, Principal Brooks. Do any directors have any questions or comments for the Rock Creek staff?
Chair, I have some questions. I'm sorry, I should have done the hand thing later. But thank you so much for this presentation. I really enjoyed just the staff perspective and all of you just doing a great amount of work to really serve not only our community at large over in Rock Creek, but especially our middle school students. And I know that you've brought this up a couple times, but middle school is definitely a special time of a child's development. I got my start doing various affinity groups and after school clubs out of middle school in the Reynolds School District. So I can definitely relate in terms of just all the things that comes with being a middle schooler, but also being on the other side and really coaching and mentoring and supporting students as much as we can as adults. So so I appreciate that. I just have a question. So I love the fact that there's affinity groups and, again, ways that students are connecting to their culture and identities. And I love how open that is to everybody else who also likes to participate. My question was in reading the school profile and just some of the figures and percentages that we were seeing, particularly around language arts and mathematics. I did notice that for, a certain segment population of students who've identified, it was like a racial breakdown. There were some differences there, right, in terms of kind of, how certain groups of students were doing amongst those categories. And so I believe that as a district, we want to make sure that all students, regardless of their background, their race, identity, et cetera, are exceeding and being supported. So how are we looking at, again, this is sort of a maybe a larger conversation, but how are we specializing either our teaching or supports or curriculum or the affinity groups to to really support those students in need. And in particular, I'm calling out, again, some of the racial categories that we saw where we know that certain students can definitely use more help and support. And then the other thing that drew my attention was the English language learners and students on free and reduced lunch. So again, how are we just, making sure that we're lifting up all students in our school community?
I appreciate the question. Wouldn't it be a great day if we couldn't tell which student was performing based on any of the criterias or groups that we have? We keep working towards that. I haven't seen it yet in all my years, but we'll keep trying. I think all the activities help move towards that goal. With the affinity that you mentioned several times, just that feeling of belonging, that I have a place, or maybe there's an adult that looks like me, that does a lot to help a middle schooler become regulated and ready to learn. We've worked hard in our curriculum to have a representation and move to pieces of work that are has more representation. I think we have some new things on the line. We've been trying to utilize, as we talked about, the differentiation. Differentiation is trying to not lower the bar, but take a 7th grade standard, if you will, and provide different on-ramps to reach that based on student needs and their ability to access. We've been having district PD on that around the high five strategies and best practice strategies to get our teachers to do that, continue to get our teachers to collaborate in their PLCs. And this year, we've started implementing the use of some progress monitoring, like with the FastBridge, the Lexia, the Dreambox, to try to, for some individuals, plug some holes, for others to have extensions, but then also to utilize that data as teachers become more proficient, then to build some small group instruction, again, to try to close gaps for different student needs. I wish it was easy as if we just did like things 1, 2, and 3, we would fix that. But we continue to look at the various things and strive towards exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Thank you. I think thank you for that answer. And that is it's a big question, right? That kind of goes all across the board in all of our schools. And again, how we, close those gaps amongst our students. But I think along those lines, I also want to continue to advocate for that family, community engagement piece that I think that was brought up in a slide of just how important it is to continue to engage those parents and guardians and families, into this conversation. And then lastly, really also listening and hearing students, of the issues, the barriers that they face, and continuing to promote their voice and their leadership. So I really appreciate those community groups. Those affinity groups, and I think the more that we can get those students to also see themselves as leaders, in them kind of, driving their success, and we as adults to support them. I think the more empowered that a lot of those students will be. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. And I had minimized my screen, so I don't know if Director Bauer or Director Wachter raised their hand first, but okay. Oh, Missy, I see your hand is down. Director Wachter, do you want to go and next? And then Mitzi, I can call on you next as well.
Oh, it's Director Bauer. We'll have to talk about this. Thank you, Chair. Wow, that was a really, really great presentation. I have lots of memories of a couple of my kids going through Rock Creek and some really fantastic connections to both you, Mr. Brooks, and you, Mr. Moreno. So glad to hear this rollout of such a supportive environment. That's a thread that just is pulled all the way through your presentation around how much thought and intentionality is built into the experience for our students at Rock Creek. And so I just really appreciate the way you framed it. And I have a couple of questions. Let me see if I can get these out in the right order. First off, in the data section, I noticed a year-to-date attendance number of 93%. That's amazing, especially given that 69% the previous year and 74% the previous year. Can you speak to that 93? Are we comparing apples to apples? If we are, can you teach us how to get 93% regular attendance?
Yeah, so I think maybe we're talking about two different things. My understanding of the year to date of the YTD, that's like, your average daily, like we're going to have 91%, 92% of our kids at school on a given day. You might have about 10% absent for whatever reason. If you start breaking that down into groups of kids, we actually have, it's around 30%. I think it's 32% or something when I looked at the data in May, that would count as chronically absent, so below 90%. And so that's probably the difference when you're talking about a 69 or 70. That was probably the chronic absentee rate when you're looking at schools. The kids that are below 90%, that's kind of a cutoff that talks about an indicator for success in the future. And so on any given day, we have about 10% that are maybe absent, but when you look at that across the student body, you have some students that are missing more than 10%. It's not equally spread, if that makes some sense.
It really is. It does. Thank you for that clarification. And it really is about definitions and how this is measured. So thanks for that. Still, very, very proud of that 90+% regular attendance number. Another stat that I think you shared this evening was around the rate of reporting around anxiety among students. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how it's measured? And are you seeing this increasing, decreasing, staying basically flat from year to year?
I will defer to Sarah, our school psychologist, but before I do that, I'm going to give her a shout out. Sarah was an incredible leader with us this year. She was new to our building, and she was the driving force behind that mental health team of combining some of our resources and not working in isolation to serve a larger number of kids and be really proactive. This is the first year we've served, I think, almost 100 kids in groups, and had some real interventions. And she's the driving force behind that, and her area of expertise is around this. So I'll defer, Sarah, if you want to share with Glenn and let him know about the anxiety, that'd be great.
Sure. That quote was from, that was from the Teen National Interview Survey that just recently came out. And that was with students between the years of 2021 and 2022. So that's a national statistic, around 21%. We're seeing that trend anecdotally just in our building. A lot of students are struggling with anxiety and depression. When they fill out counseling requests, a lot of it is around feelings of anxiety and depression. And so that's what drove our need to figure out how can we best support these students in the most efficient way possible, with the goal of really decreasing referrals to 504s and special education and giving students proactive interventions to support that need that we're seeing nationwide.
Fantastic. Thank you for putting so much energy around that. And I know your team, sounds like your team and your leadership is very grateful for your presence there. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Bauer.
Thank you, Chair Benaloga. And Director Walker, you took my first question, which was, and thank you for answering about the year attendance. I also had that question. And but I do want to thank you so much for the presentation and the willingness to continue this important work that you do. And as you stated, and I think Director Way alluded to, and Director Walker, this is a special time in kids' lives. I mean, that's, even though my kids are 30 and one's 40, I still remember that stage. I will never forget that stage. And at one point I had to substitute long ago at that age, where I was a high school teacher. I will not forget that experience. So thank you for continuing to balance their needs for a safe environment and calm. I like that you use that word. And you're balancing that with every child's need. And it came across in your presentation. So I want to thank you for that. I love the teams. I love all the activities that you're offering and encouraging them to be vulnerable and try to learn who they are. I think you're getting all the keys. I'll just follow up on the mental health topic by asking, you were given more resources, so you are serving more. Is there less wait time then for the students to get help?
That is our hope, yes. And we have a tiered approach to supporting students where they're touched by someone, whether that be a counselor, myself, a social worker, within a day. And we kind of prioritize needs based on severity. So we really try to work and collaborate together and then talk about students' needs that following week in our meeting.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate all that you're doing.
Thank you, directors. Does anyone else have any questions? Well, thank you, Rock Creek, for the presentation. We appreciate your time and loved seeing your students. That's always my favorite part, is watching the kids in the video. So thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your community with the board.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We appreciated being here.
All right, thank you. All right. Customarily, board members report on their activity within the school district each month. This time is set aside for each board member to share a report, and also please share any interest in the chair and vice chair positions for the 24-25 school year. We will do a roll call again this evening since we are on Zoom. Director Bauer.
Thank you, Chair Benaloga. I was sorry to miss the last meeting, but and I'm glad that you videotaped it, so I was able to go back and get lots of information, and I want to thank the board members for being there and asking some great questions. It was very helpful for me this week as we're bringing some of that information back. So, and thank you for stepping up, and staff for providing those presentations. I did volunteer at Milwaukee High School and Adrian Nelson for mock interviews this week. And I'm always impressed with the students, their enthusiasm. And so many of them they are focused on their future. So that was always a great opportunity for helping our students too. So communities sign up through the nonprofit Portland Workforce Alliance, which serves most of all Portland and suburban schools. I attended a PTO meeting this week to continue thanking our leaders and the groups for their support of the levy and the important volunteer work that they do in our community. I also encourage them to look for opportunities to get involved district-wide. I'm finishing up with my husband a volunteer experience we have at Scouters in the kindergarten area at lunchtime and playground, and that's just been an experience all its own. And I did notice Tuesday the kids are pretty excited this point of the year. I am not interested in either the chair or the vice chair position, as I previously served in each of those positions, and I firmly believe in sharing in the fun. But I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the chair that we've had this year and vice chair. They were a great team. I appreciated their leadership. And as you know, or they know, it takes extra time to be available for additional meetings, respond with superintendent, administrators as soon as possible, and our board chair. Make sure we all get to meetings, or at least that we have a quorum and that our committees are covered. So thank you for all that work that you've done. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Director Bauer. Director Dobson.
Thank you, Chair Benaloga. I'm going to kick off by saying I am not interested in either the vice chair or the chair position for the board next year. And then just to get right into my board report. It's been a busy month. Let's see. So I participated in a community conversation around cell phone use in middle and high schools. I attended the National Honor Society inductions at Adrian C. Nelson High School, as well as tours of both Sunnyside Elementary and Spring Mountain Elementary. I also attended several budget committee meetings, as well as policy review committee meetings. And additionally, outside of NCSD, I met with the Oregon School Board members of Color Caucus, and then also with the Oregon School-Based Health Alliance to learn more about their policy advocacy for school health services, their partnership with the Oregon School Nurses Association, and their focus on school-based health centers, mental health, and supporting trauma-informed schools. And then, while I would normally agree with Gina that like one of my very favorite things about being on the board is the school reports, my absolute favorite thing about being on the board is attending the graduations. And I was just thrilled to attend the Clackamas Web Academy graduation, their largest graduating class ever, 99 seniors, and to congratulate them as they walked across that stage was absolutely a highlight of the year.
Thank you. Director Kemp.
Yeah, I'll start out like April. I personally have no interest in the vice chair or chair position. That's a lot of work, and I take my hat off to all those who serve in that capacity. And secondly, I did attend the same meeting with April about the Oregon School-Based Health Alliance and learn more about that. And I'm interested in that and look forward to the future meetings on that. And I also got to attend my first high school graduation ceremony with the it was last Friday night. And
Clackamas Middle College.
Yes, thank you. I've been traveling for work, so I've had to miss a few of the other events, unfortunately, but hopefully next year I'll be able to catch up on those. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Director Kemp. Director McVeigh.
Thank you. Apologize for my camera being on and off and on and off, but it keeps freezing. So benefits committee wrapped up. I believe there'll be a recommendation to the board on some changes. All good and at no cost. So hopefully we don't, it might not come before the board. I'm not sure that's been decided yet, but we'll see. Second, was able to attend Sabin Schellenberg Awards Assembly, had to leave early for a work emergency, but left it in capable hands with Gina. And many comments like, where's Mitzi? I don't think Mitzi's ever missed it while she's been on the board. So but she was traveling. So, and at this time, I'm not interested in either one of those positions for the board. Been there, done that, takes a lot of work. And thank you for those that will step up.
Thank you, Director McVeigh. Director Wachter?
Thank you, Chair. I think it's been a busy month on my side as well. Sounds like a lot of directors have been traveling and also been very busy, like I have. The graduation at CMC was my first graduation to attend as a board member, and I was just blown away just by the quality of the event. The order and sequencing was so good, and it was great to get some really a flavor for what the students were going to do next. There was a lot of there was a slideshow specifically around next, sort of the next parts of their journey. And even though the slide was up there for 3 seconds, it was really still amazing to see some of the pursuits and in careers in college and jobs that those students had. And I am really proud of all of their work to get to that point. I did a couple of school visits. As the board knows and the district knows, I'm super interested in being in every North Clackamas school building throughout my term at least once. And so I appreciate so much our district admin assistants coordinating these times to show up, and the principals. And I think I've seen Yvonne about 100 times, and it's getting better and better every time. So thank you for allowing time out of your day to get me into those buildings and just create some amazing experiences. And I'm a kind of a slow learner, so it takes a couple of times to hear it go by before I go, oh yeah, that's real. I've heard this before. This is really important. So had a couple of the visits I had were at MHS and MAA, of course, on the same day. And then I toured with April at Spring Mountain Elementary. And just interesting to see, even from my prior experiences at Spring Mountain, as just a parent of students there, how much the school has changed in terms of attendance and student composition and even free reduced lunch category. Like, things are changing inside this district, and it's really important to I think as board members and as a district to really keep thinking about how are we supporting this school as it gradually, slowly, incrementally evolves and changes over time, and how do we care for those students along the way. I think earlier this week I was in mock interviews over at Milwaukee High. A teacher, an instructor, Selena Avila, invited me like when I was doing a tour, and so I showed up the following week and had some really fun interviews with some students who were thinking about how to get that first job. Even during the summer, it was very practical for them. One student wanted to apply to the Oregon Humane Society. Another wanted to apply to Target. And they were just really keen on figuring out the right steps, the right sequences of what they could do. And it was great to see sort of that practicality of like, yeah, I got to earn some money this summer. I'm a junior in high school. I've got to do something this summer. So it was great to spend time with them. There were a lot of other interviewers, and I was really impressed. A few from the district came from the career and college team, but also Portland Workforce Alliance showed up. There was a leader from the Port of Portland's police department, and a few retired folks as well. So really fantastic turnout. Let's see, finally, I've had a number of conversations with a few Happy Valley city councilors, and I'll just say that there's just a growing interest in partnering between the city and the school district. I'm hearing that from those counselors, and one of the things that they love, and I've heard a couple of times, is the principals meetings. And so there's a lot of value of information exchanged at those meetings, and I'm just really excited to hear about that. And And I'm just really proud of the way that Shay and Cindy have really reached out in the last few months to forge those bonds even tighter with the city of Happy Valley. So well done on that. And I didn't know about a school-based health alliance meeting. I want to be part of that. That sounds cool. No interest in chair or vice chair for the coming school year. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Director Wachter. Director Way.
Thank you. That's a hard one to follow. I think, off the bat, just want to state my interest in the chair position. I really appreciate and thank our current chair, Benaloga, for just providing an opportunity, consideration for others who are interested to step forward. And so it's a decision that I do not take lightly at all. And I, had some time to think about it and to prepare. But I would be honored and I'd be interested in serving as chair for next year. And I just kind of look back at the 7 years already. Oh my gosh, that I've been on the board, and it has gone by quick. So it's gone by quick, but I believe in our district. I believe in our students and our school community, and for our amazing leader, Superintendent James, as well as the team that she has built. And so I know we're just stating our interest. And of course, this is just an opportunity to state that for this meeting. But I along with Chair Benaloga, have just been doing more internal meetings, meeting with our superintendent, just working with staff on a variety of different issues. So I haven't been as much out in the community as I would like to, but this time of year, I really, really look forward to our graduations that are coming up, and just very excited that for some of our newer board members, you are experiencing just the joy of, handing out hundreds, if not thousands, of diplomas to our graduates. So just super happy to see this season taking place, and hopefully we'll have somewhat of a quiet summer. We will see, but I'm also really excited to continue to support all of our summer programming that happens, from our from our meals to events and activities that are put on by our district for our students and our families year round. So much thanks and appreciations, and that's my report for now.
All right, thank you, Vice Chair Way. I want to report that I've been appointed to the Clackamas ESD Budget Committee. Very, very different budget format over there. It was super interesting, and learned a lot at that budget meeting. I was also involved in the Benefit Committee, which, as Director McVeigh said, they are making some decisions, and it's really amazing how thoughtful they are, and truly making sure that our staff and employees are truly taken care of, and that it's at a cost that is fair to the district and also fair to our employees. Also attended the RAL collaborative meeting, which of course is just where we rally those services, and went to policy as well. I was able to tour Sunnyside Elementary, which was wonderful. I love the school tours, and went to the Sabin Schellenberg Awards night, which is one of my favorites. Attended again this year with Director McVeigh, and also went to the NCEF, our Education Foundation meeting. They have some exciting things coming up, and it was nice to hear how successful the most recent gala was, and to hear all the ways that they are supporting our district and our teachers. And then last but not least is the first two graduations I was able to attend, Clackamas Middle College and Clackamas Web Academy. And just another shout out to, first of all, the Clackamas Middle College, with the amount of college credits that our students are graduating high school with really needs to be applauded. And we should be so proud of the staff and those students that make sure and that really help our students to be on a great path, and to graduate high school with many, many dozen college credits. And then another shout out to the Clackamas Web Academy, which once again has one of the best graduation rates for any web academy in the state of Oregon. You can see why. They truly care about their students and the staff, and it's definitely a family. Clackamas Web Academy is growing every year. This is the biggest graduation class they've had. And again, just want to be so proud of all the ways that North Clackamas chooses to educate our students and to help our students graduate. And I am interested in serving as vice chair if the board so desires. So thank you all so very much. And thank you for all you do to be out there in the community, whether it be behind the scenes and going to graduations and sitting on stage, to sitting in a meeting and learning and growing with our district. Thank you for all that the directors do. You're much appreciated. Next on our agenda is the 24-25 alternative placement discussion. I welcome Assistant Superintendent Yvonne Dibley and Executive Director of Teaching and Learning and Professional Development, Tammy O'Neill. That's a mouthful, Tammy. They just keep adding things on to the end, don't they?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us here this evening. We are bringing to you this annual item. And basically we bring it to you so that you have approval for the alternative placements for the 24-25 school year. Alternative programs are used to accommodate students' unique learning needs due to or associated with a disability. Furthermore, it offers expulsion alternatives for some of our students, and also for some of our students that are dealing with a few academic credits, being short of academic credits, we find alternative ways in which they can attain those credits. Each year, Dr. Aylin Summers and Luke Scarpino do an evaluation of the general education outside programs, and we ensure that our outside programs are ways in which we can have, again, multiple opportunities for students to have those unique needs met. There are staff members that are uniquely placed to support students in the transition with those alternative programs. They're customized for frequent interaction between the placement staff members at NCSD and the partnership with that alternative program. So in your packet, you should have a list of both the general education programs as well as the special education programs. And Tammy and I are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you again for the information in the board packet. Directors, does anyone have any questions or comments? This is a discussion item tonight. All right. Now I can't, I've got four screens, so I'm trying to make sure nobody has their hand raised. All right. Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. This will be brought at a future board meeting for action. And next on our agenda is authorization to purchase Yoder phone pouches, secondary school grades 6 through 12. I welcome again Assistant Superintendent Yvonne Dibley, who will introduce our guests.
Thank you so much. On May 23rd, Dr. Richardson shared research, aligning to our deep concern with the increasing challenges students face around phone use, their mental well-being, and the impact on their academics. We recognize that we didn't have time to fully engage with questions that you may have. So tonight we return for further discussion and possible action. And so I welcome Dr. Ryan Richardson, who will also introduce our colleagues to support with any questions that you may still have.
All right, nice to see you all again, board members. I am excited to be back. My plan today is to do a short recap of what was shared last week. And then to introduce some of my colleagues and have a little more opportunity for some conversation. I believe you can see my screen now, and the big words are the most important. This is about supporting teen wellness. The subtext here is we're creating phone-free spaces, and that's true, and that's an important conversation. We need to figure out how to go about doing that. But I want to highlight again for you the most important part of this entire work is around supporting teen wellness. We shared last week that we've highlighted a problem, and I'll share a moment the research that backs this up, but our relationship to technology and our usage is leading to further isolation and depression while hindering our engagement with the world around us. I think this is true for adults, and it's certainly true of teens, and it's true in our schools. So I want to speak a little bit about the why we've come up with this dilemma to tackle, why it is we're taking this on, what it is we hope to do, and how it is we plan to do it. But I'll start with the why, and let's align the research that's out there. There's a wealth of it, but some quick highlights. Again, the previous board meeting, we were able to dive deeper into this, but to briefly recap, we know that cell phone use is negatively impacting students' social and emotional well-being and learning. We know that with more phone use, there's more likely to be depression. Kids and teens have that strongest link to depression. We know that the algorithms in these social media organizations, they're designed to pull us all in for more time, and it gives us all a false sense of multitasking. And many are advocating for minimum age increases, but like I said last time, I don't anticipate our social media companies will support us on that mission. We've done some work also around finding our why in-house. We've done some research. Our students are speaking to us. 83% of our students have reported that they use their phones in classrooms for non-academic purposes. 35% of our students report that they're being negatively impacted by other students' use of cell phones in class. 52% of our students are self-reporting that their grades are negatively impacted by phone use. And 47% of our students in North Clackamas report that their mental health is negatively impacted by our phone use. So we've identified why, but the question is what? What are we trying to do? And I'll speak to a little bit of our process. We set out to do an RFP, a request for proposal, and to identify what are solutions that are out there that can help us tackle this problem. And we wanted to align those solutions with what it is we think our community and our staff and our students think are the root cause. And so we've had 8 different community events. I've been to 9 different staffs to talk about that very issue. What is happening and what is the cause of it? We seek to follow up with, we seek to create a cell phone free space in all of our 6th through 12th grades in schools across our district. We seek to align our policies and procedures around phone use, but we also seek to continue education around phone use and its impact on our students' lives, both their personal lives and we'll call it their professional lives, whether that be on their work, their teams, or of course in school. We seek to provide tools to help support a cultural shift for student engagement and interaction in and out of the classroom. If we remove tools, if we remove phones, we have to think about how do we engage in new ways, give students an opportunity to connect in different ways that they weren't perhaps used to. Providing games, providing talk structures in classes, providing communication systems that don't rely on phone use. We know we have to shift things a little bit here. I want to recap that this is not about punishing bad behavior. This is not about making judgments about the decisions that families or individuals are making. This is about providing a gift for a vision for our community. It's a vision that we can agree to be fully present. We can push pause on our digital lives every school day. We can take a pause on that. We can step away from that distraction and that isolation. We can step towards interaction. We can step towards connection. That's the vision. That's what we're trying to accomplish. So the question, and I imagine much of the conversation and the questions that you may have are around how are we going to do this? And so we hope to explore, plan, implement, and come up with a sustainable solution. But where we've landed is to work with an organization called Yonder. And they are the organization I demonstrated last meeting where they will provide pouches for each of our students. And those and each student will have them. They'll put their device in them. They'll put their phone away for the day. The last couple of community meetings, we've had an opportunity to seek some feedback and hear some questions from the community. Many of those questions fall into themes. What will the consequences be if kids break the rule? Well, we're used to kids breaking rules from every now and then. So I think we can handle that. What are the logistics of pouches and unlocking mechanisms? What about teachers who are on their pouches? Are there exceptions for special needs or medical needs or translation on phone? What are the exceptions to the rule? Are there spaces and places where there are exceptions? What about smartwatches? Chromebooks are starting to be a conversation. Will social media be blocked? And then parent contact in emergencies or in general, how can parents stay connected to their kids? So we're thinking about all of these things. I'm happy to discuss and with my colleagues tonight, all of these situations and things. We don't have every answer, but we're certainly working towards some clarity on each and every one of them. In addition, on this slide, there's 2 links that I know you have access to that provide you examples of some frequently asked questions that other districts have implemented. And I want to remind you, there's well over 3,000 schools that are ahead of us that are doing this work already. And so we can lean on some of the lessons learned from some of those. So with that, I want to introduce some of my colleagues that are here in different roles. First is Natalie Portis, a social worker, works in the Rex Putnam community and works with some of our students that need additional supports and helps connect them and align them to what they need. In addition, I have Adrienne Cohen. She's a math teacher at Milwaukee High School, but she also serves as a 9th grade coach, which means not only does she have her own classroom experience, but she gets the opportunity to connect and see a lot of different classrooms and connect with lots of students and teachers. And of course, Kelly Rhea is back, and she has been a champion for trying to figure this out without the tool and create a phone-free space at Alder Creek Middle School, and is here to answer questions. And of course, I always appreciate my partnership with Dr. Dibley, who sits beside me tonight. And with that, we can open it up to some questions and comments from the board.
Thank you. The presentation brought only on as Ryan Richardson Energy can bring the energy and the passion into this. And obviously, you know, the research behind how important this is and that we move forward with some type of a solution. Board directors, who has questions? Director Kemp.
Thank you for the presentation. And when I was reading about this in the board book, I was pretty excited. I think this is a great move by the district. It's even cell phone use, even at the workplace, is a problem with adults at times. And I know it was personally with my own kids. I can't imagine what it's like competing as a teacher, competing with cell phones and that in the classroom and how much it distracts kids. I will say another thing from a personal experience, I've taken some extended trips over 3 weeks and no electronic devices were used or could be used. And they were the best vacations I've ever had in my life. I would recommend it if anybody else can do that. So in reading the material that was in it was so interesting to hear how when you remove these devices from the schools, how it harkened back and reminded teachers of what it was like when they were in school. And not everybody's looking at their phone. They're not looking down. They're talking to one another, saying hi to one another, going down the hallway and all that. I think this is the right move by the district. And hopefully anything the board needs to do to support this I'm certainly signed up for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Kemp. Director Dobson.
Thank you, Chair Benaloga. I guess my questions are kind of pedantic, Dr. Richardson. So you listed all of these things that you guys are thinking about. Do you have any updates on, you know, what you're thinking about to address these issues? They're absolutely the most commonly expressed concerns that I'm hearing from both students and parents in the community. And I think while I've been, working to reassure everyone that our team is on top of this, that the wellness of our students is the top priority, and harm reduction is at the forefront of these decisions, that they see these challenges that you listed as harmful And I would just love to be able to delineate, for them, what some of the approaches you're thinking about to address those concerns might be.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can go over some of the themes that we're finding in conversations and questions that these questions seem to be all kind of centered around a particular topic or theme. I'll address you mentioned parental contact and emergencies, or that's something that's come up quite a bit. And I'll just say a couple quick things about that, and I may see if Principal Ria has anything to add, because she's been living in a space where many of her students have been following this protocol and these rules, and so she's worked on some of that. As I've said in multiple settings, we're humans that care about kids, and so if students have an emergency or parents have an emergency, we want to make sure that they can connect. And so an office call, we can get a kid like that. We always know where our students are and can find them out of class and make connections when needed. So when there's an individual emergency, we can absolutely handle that. I spoke a little bit about larger emergencies, school-wide emergencies. And in those situations, we need students fully engaged with our instructions and what's happening around them. And so they're less safe if they're on their devices for a number of reasons. And so that's probably one of the main things that's popped up pretty regularly. And so I'll lead with that one, but if you have specific other logistics or anything, feel free to keep them coming. But Kelly, I think, can also speak to how she navigated this in her building when kids need to reach home and they're not allowed to use their device, and what that looks like, or when parents need to reach their students, and how does that look?
So for example, I know like some of the students at Adrian C. Nelson have their phones connected to their glucose monitor, right? So these are practical questions about, okay, we have these situations, we always do, with kids, they all need something different. So, what's the plan? How are we gonna do it?
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Ryan, would you like me to?
Go ahead.
April, I think this is a great question, and it really, I think it gets at a point with this topic that we also need to all be talking about, the adults need to be talking about, is that this adjustment to a phone-free school environment is also going to be a big adjustment for adults. Because as adults, we have become really accustomed to having absolutely unfettered access to our kids through the devices 24 hours a day. And so this adjustment will be for everyone. And I share that because I think as adults, we can model how this, like our attitudes about this, the messages we are giving our kids are contagious for our students. If we tell our kids this is going to be okay, our students will believe us and work with us on this. But for some of these things that we've navigated at Alder Creek, the spaces and places is a great way to put designating spaces, people, and places in a school building that a student can go to. Right now at Alder Creek, which is we work really hard to maintain a phone-free environment without this tool right now. If a student needs to contact their parent, they're supposed to text their parent at lunchtime to tell them how they're getting home, or if they're staying to play soccer after school. They come to one of our offices. Alder Creek, we have 3 separate offices. They can also go to, if they're a student who has a case manager, they can go to any of those specific adults and say, hey, I need to text my mom about this. And we absolutely give that permission. With Yonder, all of those spaces, those people would have the ability to unlock that pouch, give them the ability to communicate with their parent, and or give them the opportunity to use a phone that has a cord to a wall in one of our offices and contact their parent that way as well. So that is something that has become a really normalized thing in our school. Students know where they can go when they need to use their device. And I want that for my kids. I don't want my students in bathrooms trying to hide with their phone, trying to communicate with their parent. I care about my students too much to make them feel like they have to hide that or they have to sneak that. I much prefer to have a process where they're able to go to trusted adults who understand and care about their needs. As far as the medical needs, that absolutely is a situation. We have students at our school who have medical needs, that a variety of medical needs that are supported through their phones. So those are our exceptions. And we have really clear protocols and plans with those students that meet their needs. And I'm going to tell you right now, the students that have those plans, they are so good at following those plans because they respect the school environment and they know that their specific need is being met. With Yonder, I believe Yonder has some medical specific pouches that allow for different type of access to the pouch than a typical student who wouldn't have a plan like that. So there's even our ability to differentiate with the pouches for medical needs. And I just want to reiterate, like when we talk about student wellness, one thing we want our students to know is that they can go to adults at school that they trust, and adults at school will help them solve their problems. And having a phone-free environment makes that pathway more clear for our students around which people who are right there who want to help them can help them get access to the support that they need. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Anything further, Director Dobson?
No, not at this time. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Director Bauer.
Thank you, Chair Benaloga. Overall, I am impressed again with your presentation and the data that you had to back it up and the articles. There are schools, like you said, that have used this, and pointing out, well, our data that even in our district, 52% of our students said their grades were negatively impacted. That's concerning, but yet 47% of our students report their mental health is negatively impacted by cell phone use. So if we can help that group and even one student, it's worth it. I think we can look at it after a year also and see if we need to make changes.
Yeah.
But the articles, one district that tried it, they said shorter restroom breaks. They weren't having the fueled arguments during school or out in the playground, inappropriate photos, all of those things were minimized. They were making more friends, more free to face-to-face conversation, less loneliness and depression. And we know those are real. So those are my concerns. And I think I've been contacted by staff. Also, I've heard a few stories from parents about the bullying out on the playground or in the hallways. And if this would help decrease that negative impact, I think, it's something I can support. I did want to ask, though, if you would address the off-campus travel. I think that was something that's come up a couple times. And thank you for all the information, the articles, and the data showing increased cell use from what was 2011, 2012, and now, and then our rate of learning and depression. Thank you for all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can speak to the off-campus travel. While I would argue that students that are driving themselves, probably a phone-free car is the safest option, but I also recognize that emergencies can happen, a tire can pop, and having access to your device is important. So we would absolutely need to work with students on that. So we do have students that travel either to Save in Schellenberg, or even say for an excused period and need to leave campus for a period and potentially come back for whatever reason, especially that's generally our seniors. And so we would absolutely figure out a system to be able to quickly show and identify this is the period where I need to travel. And again, we have unlocking stations with those spaces and places that Kelly Rhea talked about. And so we just create a system where we can unlock as they're on their way, and they would simply share that their travel into Saban-Schellenberg is probably the biggest one that we would see in this district. So we would need to provide an opportunity for students to unlock and have access while they travel.
Thank you.
And Director Bauer, if I could add, something that Ryan and I have talked about, that when we say we, it is not like we in this short here represented in these boxes. It is hearing students, is hearing parents, is hearing our staff. Like Leland has come here twice and has presented to the board. I'm sure he has wonderful options and wonderful ways for us to think about something, because he is living it in the moment. So he's going to be able to tell us, this is our experience, this is my experience, this is what I need. So then we can problem solve. We had a situation where we had a community night, and one of the parents came in and was, very much adamantly opposed, and kind of came in with that feeling. And then after hearing some of the research and the data and reflecting on their own experience at home with their own children, they started thinking about like, oh, well, maybe we could do this. And actually we're providing some options for us. So we need to hear from everybody, because when we talk about community, that is all of us working together. This is not something we're doing to our kids. This is something we are collectively coming together to ensure that we are creating a different culture, because that's really how it is. It's how we do business, and that's, we are going to need to define that.
No, thank you for adding that, because that was in the materials we got too, about all the outreach that you've done. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Wei.
Thank you. I have a couple questions. I know that I, in the past have probably been the most vocal about not being against this, but again, just raising some questions, some things, of a different perspective. So I really, again, appreciate us having another discussion about this topic. I think it's very important. I don't disagree at all with the research and just, the public health harm and impact that cell phone usage, social media, all of that have negative consequences for our students. So I don't disagree with that at all. I think it's all clear. And, the more, right, that we can do to safeguard our students from the screen time of cell phones, etc., I'm all for that. It's just the way that I'm seeing this is that this is a $300,000 cost to the district to purchase just these pouches. Is that right? And to enter into a contract with Yonder. And I guess where I'm going with that is that I just wish we didn't have to spend $300,000 to basically create a cell phone free environment, right? I wish we lived in a world where we just didn't have to spend that much money to make students and everyone realize, like, hey, like, let's just put the phones away and let's just agree, that we're going to have these expectations to be fully present. So, Brian, I know you're going to say something. Please respond to that. But I get it. I understand why we need to do it. I guess now I'm just grappling a little bit with that $300,000 price tag. I know it's coming out of SIA funds. I don't think it's going to solve every mental health crisis and issue. I don't think, I think we all agree to that, that taking the cell phones piece is just one part, right, of the social emotional learning environment that we're creating. And that, as Dr. Dibley mentioned, we're trying to create a better culture for our students. The cell phone is definitely one component of it. And so can you help me justify the $300,000? Is that a one-time thing? If a student loses these pouches, right, what is our cost replacement plan? Can you just walk me through more of just the cost that we're justifying for the purchase?
Yeah. Two things I would say: preach. I agree 100%. This is too bad that we are in a place where we are needing to devote this amount of resources. You spoke a little bit to place where the resources are coming from. And so we know that these will go away. And so one of the questions that we get every now and then are, well, why not bring in more people or more mental health services? These are one-time resources. So that's a big part of this. The timing of this feels right. The ongoing costs we can sustain through other places and spaces by only supporting an onboarding of 6th grade. And then again, Yonder has done this many times, so we can expect to see a percentage of replacement costs as we go, and we can sustain that. It's that big single purchase that this is really helping us get this off the ground and run. As far as why have to resort to such a fee and such a cost, I promise you, if we could solve this, we would have solved this a decade ago. We have been talking about this for a very long time, and we simply cannot. And so it will take a shift in our practices in a very significant way to finally resolve this. And I'm glad both Kelly Rhea is here, and I'm glad Natalie Portis is here, because Kelly can speak to the impact on the school community and how much it taxes time and energy from staff to try to do this without a tool. And Natalie can talk a little bit about the extreme cases of students that are really navigating life sometimes without all the full supports that I certainly was lucky enough to have growing up, and what that untethered access looks like for students that are trying to navigate the world. So that's a little bit about the cost. Kelly or Natalie, I'll turn it to you if you want to add anything more to that.
Yeah, I think I'll just briefly add that while we're really proud of the foam frame environment at Alder Creek, it by no means is perfect. But what the outcomes we are getting require a tremendous amount of adult resource. Every adult in our school, we're working on this. We are enforcing it consistently, and it takes a tremendous amount of time without the tool. And I'll share my hope with the tool, with the pouches, is that right now we ask my students when they walk in the doors of my school to make the healthy, right choice with their phone every moment of the school day, right? Every moment we're asking them to resist the urge, to resist the impulse to be on their phone, to resist the urge to try to escape from whatever is happening in the school environment by getting on their phone. With this tool, I'm only going to be asking my students to make that good choice once a day when they arrive at school, right? And then they can put that energy that the students are using throughout the day to make that good choice with the phone into their learning. Then I can also reallocate then all of that adult energy into supporting the phones and the power struggle that comes when students are on the phone. I can put all that adult energy back into learning environments, which is where I really want to put those resources.
Thank you for that. I have a follow-up question. So the $300,000 is for the pouches. Is Yonder going to provide any type of consulting? I mean, I feel like they're making a killing. Let's be real, with multiple school districts. I mean, if they're the only supplier of these, specialized pouches, good for them. I mean, they're, I think more districts are going to latch on to, this opportunity if this really, works well, and we're seeing the results that we want to see. But this is more for me as the district, right? As a director, looking at, are we getting the most amount of support, help, consultation from this provider? Again, I understand the pouches. I understand, kids get there. I've used it before. I've been to shows where it's like, okay, cell phone free environment, put it in, your cell phone's deactivated, and then afterwards, you take it out. Is Yonder providing any other additional support, resources to our teachers? Some of the great questions that have come up in community. I completely agree with you, Kelly. I think teacher staff time should be most well spent in the classroom to, you know, do that engagement with students, it shouldn't also be, in my opinion, to, you know, necessarily have continuous conversations all the time about, you know, the cell phone free environment and all of that. That will, I think, take away from instruction and teaching. And so again, my question for like for Yonder, like if they're, you know, if they have a big stake in this game of, you know, creating a cell phone free environment, which is great for them, what are other resources and supports are they offering to school districts so that, you know, whatever it is, like we can they can help create that culture free environment, phone free environment with our students.
We are paying for not pouches, we're paying for an organization that's helped shift cultures and staffs in schools across the country and across the world 3,000 plus times. So what drew us to Yonder was not just the pouch, but the systems of support that they bring. There will be a Yonder personnel coming to every single school building to talk through how are we going to navigate this process, how many devices do we need, where are unlocking stations going to be. These are sample policies and procedures. These are some signage. This is some community outreach, all of it. So they're very supportive. And then it is ongoing. We are purchasing a contract and it's an ongoing relationship. It's not just a one and done. They provide the pouches and walk away. So if we are having issues or problems or hearing from the community, Yonder is right there alongside because I'm sure they have heard it and seen it before. It can help and walk alongside us. And so that is a big part of the purchase. I would love for if Adrienne Cohen, who is here, she's a teacher. You talked a little bit about the energy and finding another way. And I know she's had so many conversations with students herself in her classroom, as well as other teachers who have tried to navigate this.
Sure, I can speak to that. I mean, I think I work really hard, kind of like Kelly said, to create a phone-free environment in my classroom, but I'm spending a tremendous amount of energy doing that at the cost of relationships with students. And I think I wasn't expecting that, but I am arguing with students all period long about phones. And largely they're away. I patted myself on the back because I thought I had a success with a kid who really had a phone addiction. I finally worked out an agreement with this kid, no phones in class. I was so proud. And then the second day he was gone for an hour in the bathroom looking at his phone, right? So I think it feels like whack-a-mole when you're trying to get kids to put phones away all day. And I'm so excited about kind of what Kelly said of just asking kids to make this decision once, and then we can all move on and do school and build relationships with each other. So and all the teachers that I talk to at Milwaukee are so excited about a policy that just feels consistent and easier to implement than what we've tried so hard to do and frankly failed at, which is just like asking kids over and over to put their phones away.
You asked about resources as well. One of our major resources is the amount of energy and support in mental health. And so, Natalie, if you want to speak a little bit about your time and energy that you are having to navigate in your role, that would be also, I think it connects to the resources question.
Yeah. I think I'm like Adrienne and Kelly here. I'm so excited at the prospect of this. I think I told Ryan after one of his presentations that this is one of the most excited I've been, or kind of invigorated since working in schools about just what this might mean, the prospect of what this might mean. I mean, I feel like there's just kind of like a baseline vigilance that exists among kind of the modern teenage experience that just kind of going throughout the school day, and at any moment, you're having a bad hair day and someone decides they want to take a picture without your consent and post it. And here now we have content. And now this student, and this is kind of just like a pretty, this is a tamer version of kind of what happens in high schools. But now the student, checks their feed during lunch, and now they're kind of consumed with all of the drama that is happening, and maybe some harassment or bullying that's happening now on social media, all taking place during the school day. and how are they supposed to engage in their English class and learn about all, poetry, and how do they go to math class or art and engage in the material, engage with their peers and with their teachers in a meaningful way when this is kind of just buzzing in the background. And that happens. I can't tell you how many times that I help support students who are kind of going through those sorts of things. Those are kind of normal things. And this Yonder isn't going to fix all of that, but I would guess, significantly reduce it and kind of protect the school day as a kind of a break and an opportunity just to kind of be and exist and relax and kind of reduce that kind of sympathetic nervous system being just activated. So I'm really excited about this, and thanks for letting me be here and talk for a minute.
And I'd just like to add that when we started the RFP was looking at something that would answer and would provide us answers with what problems we were dealing with, right? We did not set out an RFP for phone pouches. The phone pouches happened to be what was the answer. So I think that's an important distinction to provide, and also to think about it as not the $300,000 that we're spending on phone pouches, but the investment that we are making on our students' well-being.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I see other hands up. I just want to do my due diligence as a board director, speaking for myself individually, to make sure that we are absolutely justifying the $300,000, because that is what is going to come in front of us, right, as a vote. So that is what I am looking at in terms of the justification of can Kathy, as an individual board member, decide to go with this, given, again, staff input, community feedback, engagement, all of that. And so I appreciate you all answering these tough questions. And I also know that hopefully we are going to continue to communicate how this is going to roll out to our parents, stakeholders, students, everybody who is involved in this culture change. So I appreciate the discussion. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just directors, we are 23, almost 25 minutes behind in our agenda at times. So I just want to be cognizant of that. I'm getting the sense that we are not going to be able to move this to action this evening. We have lots of questions. What I would like to propose, if you have a burning question or comment, please let us know this evening. And unless there is an objection, I believe we will bring this back at a future meeting after we've had some more time to digest the information. Is there any?
Yeah, I do. I would like to say something.
All right, excellent. Yes, sorry.
So I hear the students' concern about Sabin-Schellenberg. I just hope when we solve for this, if it comes before us, we really think about those students who are eligible to drive to Sabin, and putting an unlocked phone in, someone who's waited 4 hours to send or receive texts or look at their social, and how as a parent, I might be a little bit afraid of them driving and texting. We have a lot of responsible students who would never do that, but sometimes it's hard to avoid that ping when you hear it. So that would be one of my concerns.
Thank you, Director
McMahon. Super fast. The beauty of this is their entire community has been away from their device. So all those pings, hopefully, in theory, it's not the usual level of pings. So anyway.
I want to send them, so I'm the first one. When they get their device back, my text is first. So.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. So do we have any more burning comments or questions that we really need to cover today or you would like to mention today? All right, thank you, directors. I'm definitely getting the sense that we are not ready to vote this evening. I believe Director Wachter and Director Kemp have additional questions, as do I. So I do believe we are going to need to bring this back at another time. Please, directors, be looking through the presentation. If you have questions, if there are things that we can, that the district can answer between now and the next meeting, that would be much appreciated. And of course, really want your input. And I personally think that this, and I agree with so many of the comments that you've made, including Director Way, that we are also financially and fiscally responsible, and we need to be able to understand fully what this means. And I appreciate the sentiment and the tone that we are talking about changing culture. So we're going to have to change our habits within that culture. And thank you so much for the great questions. Directors, please hold on to those. I know we're going to come up with more. And looks like we are not ready to vote this evening, so we will bring this back after the directors, more of us have had a chance to ask questions. So if we're all comfortable, we will move on. Please raise your hand or shout out, directors, if you do have something you'd like to bring up. All right, thank you. We will bring, oh yeah, Director Walker.
Chair, I'll just defer it all to next time. I had a 20-minute soliloquy, so I'll just wait. I also have some experience in talking with another principal from a school outside of our district that I'll share next week as well.
Excellent, thank you. And thank you also for being so thoughtful. And thank you, Ryan and team, just for making sure that we have as much information as we possibly can to make the best decision. And I look forward to getting some more questions and covering this again at a future meeting. So the next we will move on to grant property dedications and easements to the city of Milwaukee and accept vacated right-of-way. After the discussion, we will be voting on this item. I welcome Assistant Superintendent of Operations, Cindy Detchen.
Thank you, Chair and Board. This is more of a mundane decision and hopefully not too complicated, but certainly not as an exciting discussion. When we rebuilt the main classroom building at Milwaukee High School as part of the conditions of that construction, the City of Milwaukee, who grants all of that permission for land use, had several components that are required. While it seems like this was so long ago, it actually takes this long sometimes to get all of these things in order. So we're coming to you tonight is for your decision to grant the City of Milwaukee 3 separate right-of-way dedications. This is because of different parking lots that we built or portions that had just changed the configuration of the property. And so while something may have been a public street at one time, now we have encroached upon it and have 400 square feet or so of what used to be a main street, and now needs to be a parking lot, which is our property, or vice versa. In some cases, we are giving them some property. In other cases, they're giving us. So there are 3 different right-of-way dedications, 3 easements, and those are around the use of utilities or the ability to repair or access for maintenance of utilities. And then the one where the city had a main property is giving it back to the school district. That's vacating the right of easement from the City of Milwaukee. Again, these are all very technical components of planning and land use. These are all required as part of the conditions of the new building at Milwaukee High School. But if there are questions, I can't promise I can answer them because, again, this is very technical, but I'd be happy to chase those down for you.
Thank you, Cindy. All right, is there any discussion or questions about these easements and the grant acceptance of vacated right of easement? Do we
Chair,
have a
I move
motion?
Oh, go ahead.
Do we have a motion, Director McVeigh?
Yes, I move to adopt a resolution to grant the City of Milwaukee 3 right-of-way dedications and 3 easements and grant acceptance of the vacated right of easement from the City of Milwaukee.
Is there a second?
Director Bauer, second.
Excellent. It's been properly moved by Director McVeigh and seconded by Director Bauer. Is there any discussion? I will call a roll call vote on the motion. Director Bauer.
Aye.
Director Dobson.
Aye.
Director Kemp.
Aye.
Director McVeigh.
Aye.
Director Wachter.
Aye.
Director Way.
Aye.
And Director Benaloga, aye. The motion passes with a vote of 7-0. Thank you, directors. Our next on the agenda is the science adoption grades K-12. I welcome Executive Director of Teaching, Learning, and Professional Development, Tammy O'Neill.
Hello again, directors. On May 25th, we brought forward to you the K-12 science curriculum adoption recommendation. And tonight I am bringing it to you for action. I'm happy to answer any additional questions that you might have.
Is there any discussion or questions about the science adoption? Do we have a motion?
Chair, I move to approve the adoption of the proposed science curricula for kindergarten through 12th grades.
Excellent. Is there a second?
Bauer, second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved by Director Wachter and seconded by Director Bauer. Is there any discussion? I will call for a roll call vote on the motion. Director Bauer.
Aye.
Director Dobson.
Aye.
Director Kemp.
Aye.
Director McVeigh.
Aye.
Director Wachter.
Aye.
Director Way.
Aye.
And Director Benaloga, aye. The motion passes with a vote of 7-0. Next on the agenda is the budget hearing. According to Oregon Budget Law, ORS 294.456, the board has the responsibility to officially adopt the budget, make appropriations, and declare the tax levy and categorize the tax prior to the beginning of the new fiscal year. At its May 14th, 2024 meeting, the Budget Committee voted to approve the proposed budget for the 2024-25 fiscal year, declared the tax levy for the 24-25 tax year, and moved the recommendations forward to the board for adoption. Time is set aside at this time for a public hearing for the public to address the proposed budget. I open the budget hearing now. And since we have not received any public requests to speak, the hearing is now closed. Next on the agenda is resolution for fiscal year 2024-25, adopting the budget, making appropriations, imposing and categorizing the tax. I welcome Executive Director of Finance and Business Services, Matthew McCara.
Tonight I bring forward 4 annual resolutions, adopting the budget and making appropriations and imposing categorizing taxes for the 24-25 fiscal year. I should mention, as Director Benaloga mentioned, on May 14th, the Budget Committee voted to approve the budget and impose taxes. What is being presented tonight, there are no changes from what was approved. The first of the 4 resolutions is R 2324-85 to adopt the budget for fiscal year 24-25 in the total amount of $544,442,334. The second resolution is R 2324-86 to approve the amounts for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 for the purposes shown. The third resolution is R 2324-87 to approve the ad valorem property taxes for the tax year 24-25 upon the assessed value of all taxable property within the district. First, at the rate of per $1,000 of assessed value of $4.8701 for the permanent tax rate. Secondly, at the rate of $1.63 per $1,000 of assessed value for the local option levy. And 3, in the amount of $40,854,768 for the debt service on general obligation bonds. The last of the 4 resolutions is R 2324-88 to approve that the taxes imposed are hereby categorized for the purposes of Article 11, Section 11B as, first, education limitation permanent tax rate of $4.8701 per $1,000 of assessed value. Secondly, at the rate of $1.63 per $400,000 of assessed value. And third, excluded from limitation, general obligation bond debt service in the amount of $40,854,768. I would be happy to answer any questions, should there be any.
Thank you, Matt.
Clarification,
Yes, Director McVeigh?
in the fourth resolution, the $1.63 per thousand, that's of assessed value, because on our, just says and here.
Oh, yeah, it's for assessed value. The rate is the same in the third and the fourth resolution. The fourth resolution deals with how they are categorized.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions before we move on to adopting? And I just want to one more time thank our community members and thank our budget committee for the work for coming to each board meeting and informational session and asking great questions. And of course to Matt's department for always having answers for the next board meeting and making the budget process as clear as possible. We do appreciate that. So we will adopt each resolution separately. Is there a motion to approve the first resolution, R2324-85?
Here, I move to approve the resolution R2324-85 to adopt the budget for the fiscal year 24-25 in the total amount of $544,442,334.
Thank you, Director McVeigh. Is there a second?
Director Dobson, second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved by Director McVeigh and seconded by Director Dobson. Is there any discussion? I will call for a roll call vote on the motion. Director Bauer?
Aye.
Director Dobson?
Aye.
Director Kemp?
Aye.
Director McVeigh?
Aye.
Director Wachter?
Aye.
Director Way?
Aye.
And Director Benaloga? Aye. The motion passes with a vote of 7-0. Is there a motion to approve the second resolution, R2324-86?
Chair, I move to approve resolution R2324-86 to approve the amounts for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024, and for the purposes shown are hereby appropriated as presented.
Is there a second? Thank you, Director Wachter.
A second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved by Director Wachter and seconded by Director McVeigh. Is there any discussion? I will call for a roll call vote on the motion. Director Bauer?
Aye.
Director Dobson?
Aye.
Director Kemp?
Aye.
Director McVeigh?
Aye.
Director Wachter?
Aye.
Director Way?
Aye.
And Director Benaloga? I am aye as well. The motion passes with a vote of 7-0. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the third resolution, R2324-87?
Chair, I move to approve the resolution R2324-87 to approve the following ad valorem property taxes are hereby imposed for tax year 2024-25 upon the assessed value of all taxable property within the district. First, at the rate of $1,000 of assessed value of $4.0.8701 for permanent tax rate. Second, at the rate of $1.63 per 1,000 of assessed value for local option tax. And third, in the amount of $40,854,768 for the debt service on general obligation bonds.
Is there a second? Thank you, Director Dobson.
Bauer, second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved by Director Dobson and seconded by Director Bauer. Is there any discussion? I call for a roll call vote on the motion. Director Bauer?
Aye.
Director Dobson?
Aye.
Director Kemp?
Aye.
Director McVeigh? Director Mc...
Aye.
Thank you. Director Wachter?
Sorry.
Aye.
Director Way?
Aye.
And Director Benaloga? I am aye as well. The motion passes with a vote of 7-0. And is there a motion to approve the fourth and last resolution, R2324-88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23 24 -88? 23
Chair, I move to approve the resolution
Go
R
for it.
2324-88 to approve that the taxes imposed are hereby categorized for the purposes of Article 9, Section 11B as first, education limitation permanent rate tax of $4 and 0.8701 cents per $1,000. Second, at the rate of $1.63 per $1,000. And third, excluded from limitation general obligation bond debt service in the amount of $40,854,000, $768. $40,854,768. There we go. I got it.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Wachter, second.
Excellent. It's been properly moved by Director Dobson and seconded by Director Wachter. Is there any discussion? I call for a roll call vote on the motion. Director Bauer?
Aye.
Director Dobson?
Aye.
Director Kemp?
Aye.
Director McVeigh?
Aye.
Director Wachter?
Aye.
Director Way?
Aye.
And Director Bodologa, I am also an aye. Motion passes with a vote of 7-0. Next on the agenda is the construction excise tax rate approval. I welcome back Executive Director of Finance and Business Services, Matt McCarr, for this agenda item.
Thank you. Tonight, I bring forward an action item seeking approval of the construction excise tax rates effective July 1st, 2024. As background, in 2007, SB 1036 allowed school districts to impose a tax on new construction measured by the square footage of improvements. As prescribed in statute, the Oregon Department of Revenue is responsible for updating tax limits or tax rate limits and notifying districts. To notify districts, the Oregon DOR has partnered with the Oregon Department of Education, who receives updated tax limit calculations from DOR and notifies districts. For the 24-25 year, the rates set are for residential, $1.63 per square foot. For non-residential, 82 cents per square foot, and a non-residential max of $40,800. I'd be happy to answer any questions should there be any.
All right, excellent. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve the construction excise tax for the 2024-25 fiscal year?
I move to approve the construction excise tax for the 2024-25 fiscal year, therefore until later modified. This is Bauer.
Is there a second? Thank you.
Second.
Excellent. Thank you. It's been properly moved by Director Bauer and seconded by Director McVeigh. Is there any discussion? I will call for a roll call vote on the motion. Director Bauer?
Aye.
Director Dobson?
Aye.
Director Kemp?
Aye.
Director McVeigh?
Aye.
Director Wachter?
Aye.
Director Way?
Aye.
And Director Benaloga, I am also an aye. The motion passes with a vote of 7-0. Again, thank you so much to our Finance and Business Department, as well as our Budget Committee for putting together a fiscally responsible budget that we are able to pass this evening, and we appreciate all of your work. Thank you. And thank you to all the directors who attended the meetings. And I just want to leave you with a thought from a poet, Jessica Jocelyn, and I thought it was kind of perfect because we're around Mother's Day, Father's Day, and graduations. So this kind of fits in, and kindergarten promotions and 8th grade promotions. So I think this kind of fits in, and then we will adjourn for the evening. If I could keep you little forever, I wouldn't. As much as you are part of me, you don't belong to me. You belong to the wind, to the moon, to the stars. Your heart is going to change the world and make it a better place. And if I'm lucky, I will be here to watch you do it. So thank you all so very much tonight. Thank you for your time and attention. It is now 9:05 p.m. and this public meeting of the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors is adjourned. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Good night.